Mine number 14. In 1963, a massive collapse occurred at mine number 14, one of the worst mining disasters in the region's history. On that day, 23 miners were underground. The collapse happened deep beneath the surface. Rescue teams arrived a few hours later. They worked for nearly 2 weeks, but they never found anyone, no bodies, no survivors, as if the people had simply vanished. Soon after, the mine was declared too dangerous. All entrances were sealed with concrete, and the mine was permanently closed. At least that was the official record. Decades passed, but residents of the nearby settlement began noticing strange things. Exactly at 2:14 a.m., sounds could be heard coming from the old mine. Dull metal impacts, the screeching of carts, the rhythm of pickaxes striking stone, as if someone was still working deep underground every night at the same exact time. Most people dismissed it as rumors. Until in 1998, a group of engineers received permission to inspect the old tunnels. They were meant to assess geological stability before a new road construction. The job seemed routine, but on the very first day, strange things began to happen. Some tunnels looked as if they had been recently used. There was no dust on the ground, no rust on the rails, and fresh tool marks were visible on the walls, as if the miners had left only hours ago. On the second day, the engineers found an old mining lamp. It was sitting on a wooden crate, and it was still lit, a dim yellow glow, despite the fact that the mine had been closed for over 30 years. The deeper they went, the stronger the feeling became that someone was watching them. Occasionally, silhouettes flickered in the distance, but every time the corridor turned out to be empty. On the third day, the team discovered a metal door. According to all official mine maps, it did not exist. Behind it was a tunnel, completely intact, without a single trace of collapse, as if the disaster had never happened. The engineers decided to continue. A few minutes later, they heard sounds, voices, the clanging of tools, laughter, the normal sounds of a working shift. Somewhere ahead, they turned off their flashlights and listened. The sounds were real. Someone was actually inside the tunnel. Proceeding carefully, they entered a large underground chamber and froze. In front of them, the mine was fully operational. Lights were on. Carts were moving. People were working. Dozens of them. At first glance, everything looked normal, until one of the engineers looked at their clothing. It was a 1963-era uniform, exactly the same as in the archive photos of the missing shift. Then one of the miners raised his head, looked directly at them, smiled, and waved, as if he'd been waiting for them all along. The engineers ran back in panic. They didn't stop until they reached the exit. When authorities sent another team days later to verify the report, the tunnel no longer existed. Behind the metal door was only solid rock. No passage, no people, no working mine. But the strangest discovery came later, when the engineers reviewed the photographs taken that day. One image clearly showed the underground chamber, working miners, carts, lights. Everything was visible, and in the corner of the photo stood a man. He was looking directly into the camera. On his helmet was a number, 14. The same number belonged to the foreman of the shift that disappeared during the 1963 collapse. Beneath the photo, a note was later found, appearing from nowhere. Just 4 words: "The shift is not over yet."